Are you okay?
It's Christmas time.
Yeah.
Come on.
Just had to make sure.
It's hard to get motivated.
Good evening and welcome to the City of Battle Creek, Michigan, and the Battle Creek City Commission meeting for January 3rd, 2023. It is 7 o'clock. We're going to start the meeting by having a moment of silence for our invocation, and then I'll call upon Jake Smith to lead us in the pledge. Would you please stand if you're able to at this time? Commissioner Jake Smith, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Commissioner Jake Smith. Next item on our agenda is roll call. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Commissioner Ballard,
Present.
Commissioner Lance,
Here.
Commissioner Morris,
Here.
Commissioner O'Donnell,
Here.
Mayor Banky,
Here.
Commissioner Reynolds,
Present.
Commissioner Simmons,
Here.
Commissioner Smith,
Present.
Vice Mayor Sophia.
Here.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the commissioners for being here at our first meeting of 2023. Next item on the agenda will be Chair noting any added or deleted resolutions, Madam Clerk.
There were none.
Thank you. Next item on our agenda is petitions, communications, and reports.
A communication was shared with all commission members from Mr. John Kenefick.
Okay, thank you. Next item on our agenda is public comment regarding consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda. This is limited to 3 minutes per individual. If you'd like to make public comment regarding the consent agenda and resolutions not on the consent agenda, please raise your hand and we will acknowledge you to come forward to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to make your comments. Please state your name and address before beginning your comment and indicate which resolution you are speaking to. Are there any public comments at this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. Thank you for having me tonight. My name is Joey Kedjbu. I'm here on a couple of the different resolutions. I'm here for the petitioner for 477 West Michigan Ave, who is seeking an approval for an adult-use marijuana retail facility at that address, as well as the petition for 327 Capitol Ave. They are also seeking a petition or a special land use for an adult-use marijuana retail facility. Mr. Mayor, given that I have two agenda items, is it okay if I have a little more than 3 minutes to speak about them, or?
Let's get to 3 minutes and then I'll make
Sure.
that decision.
Sure.
Thanks.
So I will start with.
Excuse me,
Yes.
Mayor, if I could just remind you that we did amend the ordinance so that when there is an applicant or an attorney on behalf of an applicant, that they wouldn't be, certainly you're still in charge of how long, but they're not bound by the 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I will start with regarding resolution that is not included on the consent agenda, number 41. That is in regards to 477 West Michigan Avenue. The property, as I mentioned, is being sought to be used for a special use permit for an adult use marijuana retail facility. Last month, I appeared before the Planning Commission on this same matter and attended a hearing where the Planning Commission recommended it by a count of 4-3 to not approve the recommendation. Leading into that meeting, the planning director and the planning department prepared a very substantial report, common with any special use application, marijuana or non-marijuana related. As customarily is done at that hearing, or in that planning report, the planning department went through the different items that are required by the strict letter of the zoning ordinance. They went through and checked all of the boxes and confirmed that this property did indeed qualify by their recommendation for a marijuana facility, an adult use retail facility. In particular, they confirmed that it's consistent with zoning, it's consistent with the future land use application, it's consistent with all of the local businesses and different types of operations that are around the facility, that it wouldn't have any kind of undue influence on local utilities, and that overall, it would unconditionally, and I use this word specifically, be harmonious with the local economy that's around there, with all of the other buildings and all of the other operations. Despite that recommendation, as I mentioned, the Planning Commission voted by a count of 4-3 to deny the recommendation of that site. Now, since that time, at that meeting, they relied primarily on one of the prongs of the special land use, where they decided subjectively that it was not harmonious with the surrounding neighborhood, that it wasn't consistent with the different business practices and buildings that are in that area. Since that time, I prepared a correspondence that I believe each of you have received with a bunch of different properties, roughly 30 properties that were identified within about a 1-mile radius of the property where we're seeking to put this facility. On that map, and out of those 30 properties, you will see a significant number of burnt down properties, abandoned properties, vacated land entirely that hasn't been developed, and a lot of properties that overall would be a haven for criminal activity and other illicit activity in general. What we're seeking to do here today is kind of be a pioneer in being willing to invest in this area. The property that we're seeking to rehabilitate, it's already been rehabilitated. It's been completely built out. It previously received a certificate of occupancy for a medical marijuana provisioning center. But we have to go through a special land use application now because of the change that occurred in 2020 to the zoning ordinance. This property didn't previously require special land use. It was simply a permitted use at this property. So now that we're going through those steps, the property's already been built out. I included pictures of the interior. You'll see it's been very nicely done. Facade's been done. The parking lot's been done. All that's standing in our way right now is this special use application. What we're looking to do is open the doors, bring new jobs to that facility, bring new landscape maintenance, make sure that everything's kept up to date, make sure that everything that we can do to contribute to that particular area is done. New lighting is installed on the exterior. There will be on-site security guards 24/7, making it for a lot more safe of a facility.
Attorney Joey,
Yes.
the timer went off, but the volume didn't. But I'm going to ask the city attorney to update me again on my options now.
Sure.
Sorry, city attorney.
Let me pull up that section.
My apologies, the timer was not working correctly, so I will let you know verbally when it gets to that time. So he just hit 3 minutes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But we did expire the 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm just looking for where we
No problem.
amended that section. Applicants or appellants, as defined below, or an attorney retained to represent them, are not bound by the specific time limitations set out above, but may have the amount of time deemed reasonably necessary by the mayor or presiding official to present their case to the city commission without violating the rules set out below in subsections 4A through G, with which they're obligated to comply.
So I could allow him another 5 minutes if he wanted?
Sure.
Would you, 5 minutes do it?
I won't even take that much time, Mr. Mayor. I
right.
appreciate that.
You want to bet on it?
I know us lawyers can talk more than we need to sometimes, but I'll make sure to,
Go ahead.
to avoid trying to put you
Go
all
ahead,
to
Joey.
sleep. I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. So what I was getting at was this area, if you look at those pictures, and we used a very small sample size of just roughly under 1 mile radius, there are a significant number of properties that have become a deterrent for anybody else to want to invest in that area, for any development, for any new businesses to want to become a part of that area, and for existing businesses, they're vacating. There are a few buildings in those pictures that I attached that you see they're in pretty decent condition, but they just can't find a tenant because there's so much dilapidated condition around them. What we're looking to do here is simply add a licensed business that would be licensed at the local and the state level, that would be nothing but a benefit to the local area. The other things that I already mentioned in terms of security, surveillance, lighting, all of those stuff would benefit all of the surrounding properties. And then from a purely monetary perspective, last year the city of Battle Creek received, I believe it was roughly $600,000 from marijuana facilities as a result of their share of the excise taxes that were distributed and funneled down from the state, $56,000 per location, and $5,000 in licensing fees per location. That number last year was $60,000, and the number has grown exponentially since last year because more facilities have opened up in Calhoun County, and that is the pool of resources in terms of excise taxes that we share. That number is expected to increase this year. This facility is going to be nothing but an asset to that community, and as I previously mentioned, this applicant can truly be a pioneer to show that that area can be be revitalized and grow organically and encourage other businesses to see that traffic is being drawn to that area, to see that there's an opportunity for them to attract new customers and generate revenue and support the local economy. I would respectfully request that you guys, that this commission adopt the recommendation of the planning director's report and give us the opportunity to move forward with this special use permit. Thank you very much, and I'm happy to answer any questions I can answer.
Are you going to speak towards the other one?
That one is a little more straightforward, so if I'm going to use the 3 minutes on that, yes. That one, at the planning commission level, again, it received a report that was supported by the planning department. It received a vote of 7-0 by the planning commission. It definitely checked all of the boxes, and there was no issue with that one based on my discussions with the planning commission and the deliberations they had. It's in the appropriate zoning. It's consistent with special land use, future land use map. And for all other purposes, there's no reason that was provided at the planning commission hearing why it shouldn't move forward and that it shouldn't be granted special land use approval. And in that case, I would respectfully request that you adopt the planning commission's recommendation in that one.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name's Scott Harrington. I'm a local real estate broker in this area. I just wanted to bring up a few comments. I don't have anything at stake in the particular property at 477 that he was just up here talking to you about. But as being a realtor in this area for over 20 years now, one thing that I remember about that particular property in that area that I want you all to think about is that when that credit union was put in, it was put in to be to give everybody a tax break. I think they were supposed to get like 5 years, no taxes for putting that business there, and then it didn't succeed. So to get people to come in and invest into these properties in that area right in there, I think is very important. It's going to help bring business there. That's, like he said, there's other businesses in the area that are struggling. But if you let somebody go back into that building, it's going to, I think, bring a little more credibility to that area to help it succeed. I just kind of wanted to remind everybody about what that area has gone through over the last 20 years and what this could possibly help bring to that area. Thank you.
Scott, thank you very much for your comments, and nice meeting you. Are there any other public comments at this time? John Kennefick.
Timer working yet?
Yeah, but I'll tell you when your 3 minutes is up, however, the timer's working.
Give me
yes.
about 10-second warning. John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. I'm going to speak in regards to Resolution 44. A resolution seeking the acceptance of a proposal of best value for flash flood water park pool resurfacing from Advanced Pool Services, not to exceed $264,500. 200 of that $264,500 is coming from American Rescue Plan. The remaining $64,500 is coming from the general fund of the taxpayers of Battle Creek. Now, some questions come up. First of all, how much money since Full Blast has been in operation? In a success or failure per year, money made or lost? Wouldn't that be nice to be in the agenda or the 44 resolution to see if Full Blast is failing or succeeding one way or the other per year? If it's losing money, you're putting a lot more money into it that doesn't belong there. The second question that comes up is, since it began its existence of Full Blast, how much money from the public treasury has gone to repair Full Blast at the taxpayer expense? More than before 2099, there was an operation that was in Battle Creek called the Youth Building by W.K. Kellogg. Now, what he did before he passed away is he had this building built, and then he put an endowment, money in the bank, and the interest from this money, of this account, would go to the repairs and upkeep of the youth building. You might have to pay maybe 5 or 10 cents at the time to get in, but somewhere along the line, that youth building was transferred to the government of Battle Creek. And it didn't take very long for the endowment to disappear, let alone the damage and deterioration of the youth building. In 1999, there was a resolution in front of the City Commission for the demolition of that building. It was a 5-4 vote, from my understanding, and it wasn't demolished, it was mothballed. It is now a assisted care place or for the elderly. So I'm glad they didn't destroy that, but you still have a situation where you are putting money, throwing money away for a non-essential purpose. If it was going to make money or at least break even, that would be one thing. But since it probably can't stand on its own financial feet, it might want to be shut down and maybe sold to somebody else, since it's a taxpayer draw. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Whitney Hudson. I'm a local resident, and I would like to speak about resolution number 40. Okay, so I am actually the general manager appointed to the location at I believe it's 327 Southwest Capitol. We do have plans to be in the building beginning of the year and open by mid-January. We have a large grow facility already that we have partnered with and a reputable grower, so we know that we'll be able to offer quality product. Not only will our product be of high quality, but we will also be affordable and have products in every price range, so it attracts not only locals, but those out of city or state, which also drives business to the city of Battle Creek. Not only will our plans for our grand opening bring business with the plans that we have of bringing in local musicians, but it will also help to contribute to businesses all along that strip of Capitol. This location will be staffed by industry veterans who are looking to help build and impact a community full of people 21 plus. We are also looking to be more than a business, but a community staple of kindness, professionalism, and to help destigmatize THC use not only for medical reasons, but for everyday life. All of our staff will be knowledgeable on products and processes, so our dispensary will stand out from the rest. We also plan on giving back to the community in ways of doing canned food drives, coat drives, and looking into what we can do to positively impact those around us. And like I said, not only will it be ran by people from the community, so it will be more in tune to the wants and needs of our customers, but there will also be good paying jobs for those that I'm hiring from that community around us. Thank you.
Whitney, thank you very much for your comments, and good luck at your new opportunity.
Thank you.
Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, ma'am. Cindy?
Cindy Dion, 24 Poplar. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good. All right. I'm sorry. I object to this community being completely rehabbed by marijuana facilities. We need homes for people. We need to be an inclusive community. I can say that marijuana is a legitimate part of our needs in this community, but we can't take their promises that they're going to fix, they're going to do food drives, they're going to be kind to the community, they're going to be this. Those are just promises. And we need action, and we need people thinking and stepping up about how to take care of seniors, homeless, hungry, whatever. We have to be an inclusive community, and we can't do that if all we're doing is supporting marijuana facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy, for your comments. Any other public comments at this time? Any other public comments?
Mary.
Sorry, I didn't see you. Your turn.
So my name is Mary Bourgeois, and I live at 231 Springview, and I have two compliments, one for the police and one for the sheriff, or the fire department, excuse me. So I'm in Battle Creek to receive services for post-traumatic stress out at the VA. And one of my assignments from my primary therapist is go up to big burly guys in uniform and just kind of establish a little bit of rapport. And whenever I've gone up to an officer and said, I am so grateful to have you taking care of the public safety in Battle Creek. Their faces just broke up into a huge smile, and that's deconditioning me from the post-traumatic stress that I've experienced. So kudos to the police department. Now the fire department. I was volunteering at the Share Center, and there was a guest who warranted a 911 call, and I'm also an RN. And when I saw the way that fireman encouraged this guest to hop up on the gurney against his wishes, and it was textbook perfect example of how to deal with a psychiatric case. So thank you. I'm so grateful to be living here in Battle Creek. Thank you.
Well, Mary, thank you very much. Your exuberance really impresses me. Welcome to Battle Creek, and please come back. Are there any other public comments? Yes, Jerry Steiner.
Good evening. My name is Jerry Steiner. I live at 115 South 26th Street. To be perfectly honest, I didn't come here to speak on marijuana tonight, but I think I'll give it a shot. Look here, y'all. We all remember a time when you could go to jail for marijuana, and you could get a lot of time for marijuana. And as time moved on, we became more liberal in our thinking. So when I think about marijuana, I think about the temperance movement. Remember when all the girls was getting together and trying to stop us from drinking? Or should we say our grandfathers? Well, we got past that, didn't we? We got past that because we came together and decided that alcohol had to be regulated. Correct? Okay, you ain't got the answer already, no. But anyway, to make a long story short, as we moved along, marijuana became more acceptable. And it became more acceptable for a number of reasons. Financial was at the top. We already know, Everybody done put one in the air, whether they was a teenager or like me in Vietnam or just out for Saturday night. But the whole point of the matter is that we managed to move forward in our decision-making on issues like this. And because it benefits us financially, and it has medicinal properties, we understand that. We have to weigh these issues and see which one rings out first. And we generally know that it's going to be money. It's going to be money. Is it feasible to let the whole city be saturated with marijuana facilities? In my opinion, no. A lot of them going to fall off because if you ain't got good weed, you can't sell it. I'm just going to keep it real, But to stay with the subject, I think the city commission so far has handled it well, I mean, it's always been a controversial subject, and in regards to how we might feel about it personally, some of us benefit from it financially, and some of us medically. So having said that, I guess y'all know my stance on marijuana, right? It's all about compromise. It's all about moving forward. And on that issue, I'll do as I usually do. Peace, y'all.
Thank you, Jerry. Any other public comment at this time? Any other public comment? All right, we'll move on to commission comment regarding meeting business.
Mr. Mayor, I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve the consent agenda. Are there any questions by the commission at this time? Are there any questions, clarifications, or comments by the commission on the consent agenda? I'm not seeing any. That tells me that you're ready to vote, so please vote on the consent agenda.
There you go.
Oh, and I didn't sign in.
you need a refresh?
No,
I'll vote yes on this one.
I vote yes also.
Thank you. Patrick Moore, or excuse me, Patrick O'Donnell.
Yes.
Thank you.
There it goes.
Mayor Benke, yes.
Yes.
Commissioner Reynolds
Yes.
and Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
It is unanimous.
I guess I'm reading the whole thing.
Okay, the consent agenda has been approved. Sorry about that. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 38. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Our DPW team has been working with Binger Holdings LLC and the Battle Creek Tax Increment Finance Authority to secure a grant of permanent and temporary easements to the city for the purpose of a roundabout at the intersection of Skyline Drive, Hillbrady Road, and Logistics Drive. This resolution seeks approval for the city manager to enter into 6 agreements with Binger Holdings LLC and the Battle Creek Tax Increment Finance Authority, providing for the grant of permanent and temporary easements to the city for the purpose of a roundabout at the intersection of Skyline Drive, Hillbrady Road, and Logistics Drive.
I move to adopt.
Support?
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 38. Are there any commission comments at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 38? Resolution 38 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 39. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The subject site for the proposed use of the 0.657 acres or 28,600 square feet. The building on the subject site is currently used as a business office for VOSIS, a local nonprofit serving the Latinx community of Battle Creek. VOSIS intends to convert the building, owned by the Battle Creek Downtown Development Authority, from its current office use to a child care center with the capacity to provide service to up to 32 children. This resolution seeks the approval of S17-22, a special use permit to allow for a new child care center at 520 West Michigan Avenue in a T3 neighborhood commercial district pursuant to sections 1240.13C and 1281.05 of the zoning code.
I move to adopt.
Support?
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 39. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 39? Resolution 39 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 40. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The petitioner, 327 Capitol Avenue LLC, requests a special use permit for an adult use marijuana establishment in the T3 neighborhood commercial district for property located at 327 Capitol Avenue Southwest. The subject site is a total of 15,681 square feet, or 0.36 of an acre, with 1,946 square feet of main building constructed in 1957 and a 2,520 square foot pole barn, or pole building, at the rear of the property intended for storage. The applicant currently holds a certificate of occupancy as a medical marijuana provisioning center. The applicant is proposing to use the existing vacant building for an adult use marijuana retail establishment. This resolution seeks to approve S18-22 for a special use permit to allow the use of the adult use marijuana retailer establishment at 327 Capitol Avenue Southwest, parcel number 1530-00-059-0. The property is zoned T3 Neighborhood Commercial Zoning District, where marijuana retail centers can be allowed as a special use pursuant to Chapter 1240, Section 1240.13, and Chapter 1251, Section 1251.23 through 24 and 26.
I'd move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 40. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission at this time? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 40? Resolution 40 has been approved, and let me be the first to congratulate you, Whitney, on your new job. Thank you. You're welcome. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 41. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The petitioner, 477 West Michigan Avenue, Inc., reapplied for a special use permit for an adult-use marijuana establishment in the T3 Neighborhood Commercial District for the property located at 477 West Michigan Avenue. This item was initially heard by the Planning Commission at the August 24, 2022 regular meeting. At the meeting, the Planning Commission provided a recommendation to the City Commission for disapproval. The City Commission concurred with the Planning Commission's recommendation and disapproved their item at the September 20, 2022 regular meeting. The applicant has provided what they state to be new evidence or information to the Planning Commission for consideration as allowable under Section 1281.05E2. As used in this section, newly discovered evidence means a finding that the evidence itself, not merely its material, is newly discovered, that the evidence is not cumulative, that the evidence is such as to render a different result probable on rehearing, and that the evidence could not, with reasonable diligence, have been discovered and produced at the time of the original hearing. This resolution seeks to approve S19-22 reapplication for a special use permit to allow for an adult-use marijuana retailer establishment located at 477 West Michigan Avenue. This property is zoned T3 Neighborhood Commercial District pursuant to Chapter 1240, Section 1240.13, and Chapter 1251, Sections 1251, 23 through 24, and 26.
I'd move to adopt.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 41. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications on Resolution 41? Madam, yes. Commissioner Reynolds.
All right, thank you, Mayor. I would like to direct this to the city attorney. Could you explain the ordinance that's in place for this particular property and what that looks like if this does not go through? What will happen with the city? What would that look like for us?
So I'm assuming you want me to talk about the special use process and not just the, what this particular zoning is. So,
Yes.
So the ordinance provides that if all of the factors that are set out in the ordinance for approving a special use permit, if they have been met, and the planning staff did go through in detail and believes that those factors have been met, then this is not a discretionary decision. If those factors have been met, then you shall approve the special use permit. And, certainly, I would expect that if it's denied, that there would be an appeal filed in circuit court on this. In fact, one has been filed already, a notice of appeal from the decision from September. Now, this has been a reapplication, which the Planning Commission did vote, yes, we're going to allow them to reapply based on newly discovered evidence from some assumptions that were made by the Planning Commission and the City Commission the last time about a daycare being in existence, which it was not in existence. And that's not a consideration in the ordinance in any event. But they have come this route, kind of a dual path. They have the appeal pending in circuit court from the prior decision. Now here's a new one with them presenting this new evidence. So, if this is denied, I would expect there's a good chance another appeal would be filed.
Thank you, Attorney Jill. Now, I have one other question. Has all 5 factors been met?
Well, according to our planning department, who, they're the experts in land use, they feel confident that those factors have all been met, yes. You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other commission comments at this time? Any other commission comments?
Well,
Commissioner Lance.
while the commission, I guess I would say this, the factors are what they examined. They were also determined by the members of the planning commission that they were not met. Is that fair to say?
That is,
Majority of them, right?
that is my understanding, that some of them did state that they didn't believe that they disagreed with the planning staff.
So the staff had one recommendation, but the planning commission, who makes the ultimate decision, disagreed with their analysis.
Well, the planning commission doesn't make the ultimate decision. This body makes the ultimate decision. The planning commission only makes a recommendation, and their recommendation was not to approve. So it's up to this body to make its own decision about whether the factors have been met.
So the same criteria, though, that they looked at, they disagreed with the staff. Is that correct?
They received the same staff report. They, what they put on the record, I mean, certainly the prior decision, there were some decisions made, assumptions made about their disagreement with the findings that, turned out not to be based on the actual facts in the record. So I wasn't at the planning commission meeting, but as I've stated, you're not obligated to agree with the planning staff's findings. You can take other things that you believe are in the record.
Anything?
Well, I guess I'll be voting no on this because I disagree with the staff's findings.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other comments by the commission at this time? Commissioner Simmons.
Yeah, I guess I just would like to hear from city staff what the point of contention is on that. And there were some communications that went back and forth on this, that what the point of contention is, what the disagreement was. And if you could just tell us from the city attorney's perspective, what you're feeling of who was right, but who has the soundest legal argument if this say were to be appealed and we would have to defend ourselves.
Well, certainly if you're going to say that you disagree with the findings in the staff report, it's important to say upon what basis you disagree with those decisions. I think this would be a good time, if you're asking about the additional material from the applicant's attorney. I think Marcy Gillette is here, and I don't know if she would like to speak, or Travis, but I think that would be helpful, because I'm not down like in the nitty-gritty with all of those factors. I think maybe Marcy could help you out, Marcy Gillette, if the mayor.
Sure. And just to, Commissioner Reynolds, I think made a good point of those 5 factors. Do city staff believe those were all met?
Yes.
Okay, which one was it that the planning commission disagreed with? So I just can kind of get an understanding of where that breakdown was.
Yeah, I think Marcy could help with that.
Okay.
I know of one factor that I noted in the staff report was that 2 of the commissioners stated that they believe there are too many marijuana retailers within that area, but our ordinance does say there has to be a 1,000-foot distance, and that that 1,000-foot distance has been met. But I think Marcy really could give you the best information.
Good
evening, Mayor and Commission. With me today is also Planner Travis Sullivan to help answer any questions. I do have before me the draft meeting minutes to reference the 4 votes that were in opposition of support for that. And just to state that the criteria for special use for Section 1281.05 are actually 8 items. It's items A through H, not 5. There are 8 items.
Thank you.
So one of the votes expressed concerns about the proposed meeting item C, which is the use of this property has been commercial in the past and will not produce any additional noise or odors beyond any other retail or service facility. Further, that individual expressed concern regarding the special needs adult care facility next door, as well as the proposed VOSIS preschool facility. A second vote of not support expressed concerns about the harmoniousness of the proposed use within the neighborhood and doesn't feel as if items A and C are satisfied. Item A is the use of this parcel as an adult use retailer establishment being harmonious and in accordance with a number of objectives in the master plan. Item C would be the same item that I had just referenced in regards to commercial use, any additional noise or impact with that it surrounds. The third individual expressed adverse effects upon neighborhood, and that this would be the 3rd facility within a 3-mile radius. In speaking with what Attorney Steele mentioned, is that the distance requirements for marijuana facilities are 1,000-foot buffers from one another. So the application that's before you does meet that buffer distancing. And then the 4th item, 4th individual noted based on the same information provided by the previous. So supporting the fact that they felt that there were too many within a certain mile radius, which is not a factor of the determination.
Thank you. That's very helpful for me because we got a lot of information provided, and just to sort through all this. So, okay, what were the points of contention? Many of the things that they expressed concern about, those are things that are allowed for in our ordinance that we adopted. And I was on the commission 4 or 5 years ago when we first adopted this. And if there is concern about these provisions, the 1,000-foot setback, that would have to be, at least from my understanding, addressed by amending the ordinance.
It would.
And not addressed by, in an actual application of the ordinance, because if we go against how we've implemented the ordinance, then we're setting ourselves up for a little, I'm a little concerned about the legal nature of if we're actually violating our own ordinance, if
Sure.
we say, hey, this is allowed, but no, not for you. So thank you for that
You're welcome.
clarification.
Thank you, Commissioner. Are there any other commission comments? Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. Did I understand the applicant's attorney correctly that this site has approval for a medical license or a licensee to?
Yeah. So prior to the zoning code amendment that was in December of 2020, marijuana licensing facilities did not require special use permit approvals, special use permits in general. And so licenses would come forward, we would review them based on the standards of the ordinance, and administratively, if they met all of those standards, they would be approved. So the licensing for the medical facility side of it was prior to that 2020 amendment, and they were received a 90-day Part A conditional on July 17th, 2019, and then they were granted a conditional continuation of that permit to January 22 of 20. And as of right now, the Part B piece of that, which the Part B piece, what that does is the licensing, once you get your Part A, you then go back to the state, finish up your approval with the state, and then apply for your Part B for completion. So that secondary phase has yet to be completed for the medical side of it, but the first part of that was approved and issued by the city in 2019.
And then they never opened for business, is that correct?
Correct. You have to complete your Part B in order
Okay.
to open.
Okay, all right. And then a question on the 1,000-foot buffer. Where do we measure that 1,000 feet from? Is that property line to property
Yes.
line? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Are there any other comments at this time? All right, I will continue to object from my comments at the Planning Commission, and I'll continue with G. There will be no activities, processes, materials, equipment, or conditions of operation that will be detrimental to any person, property, or the general welfare by reason of excessive generation of traffic noise, smoke, fumes, glare, or vibrations. Quite frankly, we just approved a daycare facility. Consciously, I can't approve this tonight. Secondly, we have a adult, some of the most vulnerable people in Battle Creek that are bused into the property right next door. I'm not going to support it. Sorry. Is the commission ready to vote? Please vote on Resolution 41. Resolution 41 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 42. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
PFAS are a group of man-made chemicals that have been used in items like carpet, food wrappers, and relevant to this grant award, firefighting foam. These chemicals...
Excuse me, Madam Clerk.
Certainly.
I think I pushed the wrong button.
On your voting?
Yeah, on my most recent number 41.
Okay, one moment. I have corrected that. Just one moment.
No. So there is 5 votes there. So Resolution 41 has been, has not been approved.
Mayor,
Yeah.
may I ask the attorney a question on that? If we make a mistake like that, we're able to come back and then change it?
I think because he did that so quickly, like I electronically pushed the wrong button. If this had gone through and a little later in the meeting, he wanted to motion to change the vote. I mean, I think there's not a set answer in the rules in this, but I think because he so quickly, before we had even moved on, said I pushed the wrong button, you know, I think it's appropriate to...
Okay, I just needed a clarification. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Sorry about that, Madam Clerk. Go ahead.
PFAS are a group of man-made chemicals that have been used in items like carpet, food wrappers, and relevant to this grant award, firefighting foam. These chemicals do not break down in the environment, and studies show they may be harmful. The city's airport was a FAR, F-A-R, Part 139 certified airport able to serve unscheduled air carrier operations with 31 seats or more until November 2022. These certified airports were required by the Federal Aviation Administration to use the firefighting foams that contain PFAS because they best handle fires involving jet fuel. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to execute a sponsor contract and all other related documents as approved by the city attorney for a municipal airport PFAS grant funding.
Move to adopt.
Support. It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 42. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 42? Resolution 42 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 43. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
The city issued an RFP on November 16, 2022, for generators to fully power Stations 1, 195 East Michigan, Station 2, 145 North Washington, and Station 5, 1170 Michigan Avenue. These generators would automatically be started and are naturally gas-powered. The scope of work required contractors to assess each building and make a recommendation for a capacity of generator for each building. With our guess of minimum kilowatts, this resolution seeks acceptance of the proposed best value for generators for all 3 fire stations from Shouldice Industrial Manufacturers and Contractors, Inc., in a not-to-exceed amount of $118,042.
Move to adopt.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 43. Are there any comments, questions, or clarifications by the commission? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 43? Resolution 43 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 44. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
A solicitation was issued October 14, 2022 for the above-mentioned project. This project consisted of repairing and resurfacing the entire outdoor pool of Flash Flood Water Park. This resolution seeks acceptance of the proposal of best value for Flash Flood Water Park pool resurfacing from Advanced Pool Services, Inc., in a not exceed amount of $264,500.
I move to adopt.
Support.
Been moved and supported to approve Resolution 44. Do we have any comments or questions? Yes, Commissioner O'Donnell.
Just had a thought. How many times does a pool like this need to be resurfaced, and how long does it usually last, the construction that needs to be redone?
I actually don't know that. We can check on that unless, Ted, you may.
Yeah, I could probably provide just a little bit of insight into that, Commissioner. So the pool was originally built in the mid to late 90s, and it has at times been resurfaced in part over the years, maybe I'm going to say 4 or 5 different times. It's a little unusual to strip and resurface the entire pool, and as you'll notice from the resolution too, that after initially considering that, we're not going forward with a stripping of the entire pool, but just some of the impacted areas. Once this work is done, the warranty period is relatively short. It's a couple of years because it depends on how you treat the pool, particularly during the off-season, so we've got work to do to make sure that we're maintaining it properly, but we would expect this to last for hopefully at least 5 years.
So there is warranty on the area that's being constructed for 5 years apparently, or what's the warranty value of that?
I'm going to have to look it up with this particular contractor, but I believe that the warranty period was 1 or 2 years. But it depends on how you manage the pool during the off-season. For example, in order to maintain the surface, you have to maintain a certain amount of water in the pool, even in the winter time. And if you don't maintain it the proper way, then that can tend to void the warranty.
Oh, thank you for the information.
Any other comments? Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think everybody at this table knows that the better you take care of a resource, especially when it comes to property, the more valuable it is should you decide to unload it. So I don't have any concerns with this whatsoever, but it was brought up earlier, and I would like more information regarding the feasibility, the value of the facility. I don't expect it now, of course, but I would like some of those questions, some answers to those questions that were brought up earlier.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Any other comments by the commission?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Roger.
I would also, in addition to that, I would like to know what the income and expenses are for the blast, full blast. And again, not right now.
Any other comments by the commission? I can tell you, I take my 14-year-old son down there, and you've got to be in line to get on the courts. It's that busy right now, and I think it's a great resource for our community full blast. And I know at lunchtime, several city employees make a track over there too, so it's good to see that. All right, please vote on Resolution 44. Resolution 44 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 45. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
For the calendar year 2022, the city paid BCCF to carry out grant administration services. The city found this arrangement to be more cost-effective as compared to assigning BCPD staff to this responsibility, particularly given the expertise and experience BCCF has with grant-seeking application administration. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to enter into a new agreement with Battle Creek Community Foundation, BCCF, for continued police department grant administration services.
Move to adopt.
Support.
So moved and supported to approve Resolution 45. Do we have any comments, questions, or clarifications needed by the commission? Commissioner Morris.
I just wanted to point out that I have a perception of impropriety because I am employed by the Battle Creek Community Foundation, but I've spoken with our city attorney, and there is no conflict of interest for me, so I can still vote on this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments, questions? Seeing none, would you please vote on 45? Resolution 45 has been approved. Next item on our agenda is Resolution 46. Madam Clerk, when you're ready.
Nested junctions are public institutions or facilities that lie within the city's permitted MS4 area and have separate storm drainage that lies within an urbanized area, and the storm drainage meets the concept of system as described by the EPA regulations. The city and nested jurisdictions share responsibility outlined in each agreement to ensure that permit requirements are being met and appropriate measures are taken to protect the water resources. These agreements minimize duplication of efforts, increase efficiencies, and allow for collaboration in each entity's stormwater program. This resolution seeks authorization for the city manager to enter into an interagency agreement related to State of Michigan stormwater permits with the following nested jurisdictions: Kellogg Community College, Hart-Dole Inouye Federal Center, Battle Creek Public Schools, and Lakeview School District.
I'd move to adopt.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to approve Resolution 46. Are there any questions by the commission, comments, or clarifications needed? Seeing none, would you please vote on Resolution 46? Resolution 46 has been approved. Next item on our agenda, I see we have our state representative here. Did you tell us about the governor's ball and the promenading that you did at the governor's ball? Or just a quick report on what you anticipate, State Representative Hosma?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, City Commissioners and Administration. I'm Jim Hotzma, 249 Snow Avenue in Bedford Township. The governor's inauguration is behind us. That happened on Sunday. We do have opening of term next week, Wednesday, I think. Am I correct? The 11th. I need help from Sherry, who works for one of the representatives up there, because it's coming out of the holidays. It's kind of amazed as to which date we're on and which we're embarking upon. I wanted to congratulate VOSIS and thank the city for affording VOSIS the child care opportunity at the West Michigan site. I wanted to voice support for something that I think NAACP President Kerry Whitfield is going to articulate. That is support for a Citizens Review Board. I think that benefits all concerned. I, too, want to note that I have, again, first Saturday of the month, coffee hours. You're welcome to come, Mayor. This Saturday, it's in Springfield, however, 20th Street, Mr. Don's. It's between 9 and 11 a.m. And then I do it again in the afternoon over in Albion at this upcoming week at the Foundry Bakehouse on South Superior Street in Albion. So I look forward to having many people come and give me ideas about what we can do in Lansing, what they'd like me to do or what they'd like me not to do. And thanks for the opportunity to
And we thank you for coming, Jim. I know that you're busy, and it means a lot to me to have you here as our state representative.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, now we're at general public comment. If you'd like to make general public comment regarding matters over which the City Commission has control, please raise your hand and wait for us to acknowledge you, and then come forward to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes to make your comment. Please state your name and address prior to beginning your comment. Kerry Whitfield, please.
Honorable Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, greetings. My name is Kerry Whitfield. I live at 337 Carpenter Drive, Bedford Township. I'd like to briefly discuss the Citizens Review Board. In 2018, NAACP took it upon themselves to research the impact that the CRB would have on Battle Creek. Since then, we incorporated a group of people to work on a task force. Recognizing the diversity of our community, we asked that the president of BOSIS, the director of the Burma Center, NAACP, and several others, such as a judge to help us with the legal applications, and several psychologists and sociologists to help us with the interaction between the police and the citizenry. Throughout that process, they developed what we call a proposed Citizens Review Board. I spoke with both the city manager and the chief of police originally and got at least a common consensus that it's worthy of investigating. We have done an investigation and we completed the Citizens Review Board proposal, and that was in 2021. As a result of that, we are now going to present that to the Human Relations Board, who in turn will present it to the commissioners. We ask that when it comes to you, our expectations, by the way, is the first quarter of this year, when it comes to you to recognize the significance that it's going to have in respect to the relationship to our police department and its citizenry, and how we can now create the idea of common ground. I ask only that when it is presented to you, that you consider it very well, to an extent that you might want to accept this. Many cities has already accepted it. There are well over 200 cities that does have a Citizens Review Board, and it has had a direct impact on the relationship. The total concept is creating transparency, a trust between the policing agency and its citizenry. I only ask in advance that you consider this because you have not been fully given a packet, and that's to come, but just letting you know that this is the first of the year. Many things has changed. We have a new chief coming in, and more importantly, we want to establish ourselves as being a city that does
3
not
minutes
have
concluded.
indifference between the police and its citizenry. That's it.
Kerry, I want to say thank you very much for your eloquent comments. We believe, we appreciate your time that you've served on the committee that made this recommendation. I'm sure our city manager will make it very much to our attention just as soon as possible, but we appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Are there any other comments at this time? Yes, Rochelle? Or Commissioner Rochelle, I should say.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor Benke, and other Commissioners, Vice Mayor. My name is Rochelle Hatcher, and I'm a resident at 139 Ann Avenue here in Battle Creek, Michigan. I'm here today to say that I see the Citizens Review Board exactly a benefit to the city of Battle Creek as our neighborhood planning councils are. That board could also serve as a separate entity that could also provide information to the commissioners and to the city officials, as well as all our neighborhood planning councils do. That's it today. Happy New Year. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. We appreciate your service to our community. Are there any other public comments? Yes, voices. Jose?
Good evening,
Ola.
Mayor. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and fellow commissioners. I think we're all learning here, and I'm on this journey as well. And I welcome you all because this is a new commission, and I addressed this commission a couple months back when we were discussing ARPA money and talking about reinvesting in our community, and you guys supported us, voices. And we're in conversations with that next step, which will be a building. Tonight, I should have spoken up at the very beginning. I should have spoken up at the very beginning when it was time for the public comments.
We're learning.
Right, we're all learning. And,
Right.
and if you notice, the guy's gone. The lawyer's gone. Why? Because he's not from here. He's not from Battle Creek. Actually, he's from Troy, Michigan. How do I know that? Because the owner of that dispensary called me an hour and a half before the Planning Commission to have a discussion. I'll leave it at that. You can infer from there. It's unfortunate that he's not here because I would love for him to hear parts of this. Because he said that he took pictures around the area and that he doesn't understand. He doesn't see he doesn't see anyone else wanting to invest in this community. I take issue to that because right across the street is Hex T-shirt Design, who's a fellow Latino, fellow community member who is trying his darndest to open up his business and be successful. I invite you guys to stop by his shop. He's trying. Right across the street from his business is Mario Talavera, who just opened up Cafetal. I invite you guys to go and have breakfast there. It's a really cool spot. So when he says we don't want to invest, that's businesses reinvesting into that community. Pastor French from Washington Heights United, she just got some support from the county commissioners to bring in some lights because she's got a really cool walking trail back there. I see Damien here. It's awesome to see the community still sticking around and coming to these conversations because it's important to them. So the churches are reinvesting into this community. I know 2 families that just bought homes over the past year and a half in that community. So families are reinvesting into that community. That's creating that harmonious peace, I believe, that the city of Battle Creek is looking for. And when we talk about bringing in another dispensary, I don't understand how that's going to create the harmony. I understand there's going to be an appeal process, and that's probably going to make it fun for us. But I thank you all for standing up boldly tonight and voting it down.
Thank you, Jose. We appreciate your comments. Sam?
Sam Gray, 245 Irving Park. Appreciate those comments, Jose. And I wanted to say, you know, the Bible says all things are lawful, but not expedient, all right? So liberty has limitations, and I appreciate the ones that voted no on the marijuana dispensary. There are too many. I'm not against it, but it's too much saturation in this community with marijuana facilities. And with the neighborhood, you were saying neighborhood planning councils had to go against the Singh family because they wanted to have liquor in the gas station across the street from Pastor McCoy's church. he was willing to pull out dollars too and try to, you know, coax people into, you know, allowing liquor to be sold in there. And again, we got blasted, all right, because we were against it. We did win, all right, because he wasn't allowed to put liquor there. So my point is, you know, we're not against business or anything like that, but, you know, there's a point behind this, you know. We're trying to revitalize that neighborhood. We really want a safe, family-friendly place where everybody wants to live. That's our motto. That's our goal, all right? And so by having another dispensary, there's several of them closing, you know, but then there's other ones popping up. One is coming up over in the mall. And so when is enough, you know? And so I appreciate the vote. And yeah, you're probably going to lose in a court battle, but, you know, whatever. I'm glad that you stood up. So thank you.
Thank you, Sam Gray. Yes, sir.
Good
I'm
evening,
sorry, Damon, I didn't recognize you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Damon Brown. Address is 78 Grand Avenue here in Battle Creek. And I just wanted to publicly offer my support for the Citizen Review Board. I think it's a great idea, past overdue. And it's close to home for me because I'm personally experiencing some things right now that I won't get into details about, but I think that something like this is definitely needed, the transparency of it. There's a lot of things that I feel going behind closed doors that the public doesn't know about, and as long as we stay quiet about those things and keep those things behind closed doors, there are some injustices going on.
Thank you very much, Damon. Yes, Linmore Gray, please.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners and staff, Lynn Ward Gray, 245 Irving Park Drive, and I'll just pick up where my husband left off as far as the Citizens Review Board. Both of us are in support of the Citizens Review Board and ask for your support of it when it comes before you. Give it careful consideration. You heard from our president. I am the first vice president for the local NAACP, and we feel that trust and transparency and cooperation between citizens and law enforcement would be greatly improved with the Citizens Review Board in place. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Linmore Gray. Reese Atkins, please.
Good evening, Maurice Atkins, 24 Popular, Battle Creek, Michigan. I've got two things I want to talk about fairly quickly. First one is I'd like to see an update on what's going on because I've seen no action at the old Kmart lot field. The commissioners voted for a couple zone changes and stuff for low-income housing. Nothing been seen. I'd like to know where that is and what the update is on that one. The second of all, you know, we are less than 2 weeks away from losing a chief of police, Chief Blocker, who has done an excellent job through the city of Battle Creek and a lot of changes, and I've seen nothing from the city commission honoring him or anything like that. I would like to see something like that. I know that my roommate has put in a recommendation for one to be done, and again, we've not seen anything, so I would like to see something done next meeting because I do believe he's leaving at the end of the month. The other thing is thank you very much for denying Proposal 41. I don't understand how it can come apart to you a second time as the first time you guys also denied it. Thank you.
Thank you, Reese. Mrs. Whitfield, please.
Thank you. My name is Linda Whitfield. I'm Carrie's wife. I'd like to first thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, and staff for listening to us today. But the first thing I'd like to say, I am speaking as a regular citizen, so please do not add me on to Carrie's and things. But what I'm speaking of is a regular citizen that has been in discussions with other regular citizens about their concerns about the interactions of the police and the public, especially when you get to diverse groups. What we hear, there is no real confidence, there is no transparency to the degree that makes people feel comfortable that they are being treated fairly. What the Citizens Review Board would do is nothing more than create that transparency, create that trust. We have, I think, a pretty doggone good police chief that is leaving us, but he can only take it so far. He cannot be the face of the entire police department and give people the confidence that they need to interact as is needed to solve crimes, to have people feel that they are all treated equally and well. Citizens Review Board is not anti-police. It is not an ethnicity. It is something that will work for everyone. All I am saying is that I hope that you will take this point seriously, put it forth, let us have it, because the citizens want it, they need it, and it can't offer anything but a positive outcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Appreciate it. Rochelle, I think you've already spoken once. I can't call upon you one. No, I can't. I'm sorry. No.
That's all it has, 3.
Believe me, I would love to, but Jerry, did I see a hand up? All right.
Jerry Steiner, 115 South 26th Street, Battle Creek, Michigan. Okay, we've all seen that you got your plate full. Citizens Review Board, marijuana issues, the other proposals you put forward. But I got something a little different for you tonight. You know how I stood on the objection to the buses prices being raised. Well, I come from a family of women, and they said when you discover a problem, the next step is to find a solution. So I got a number of solutions. The bus fare used to be $1.25. You raised it to $1.75. That's 40%. My first recommendation is that you move it all the way back down to $1 for everybody. My second proposal is that you start riding the bus. Understand how your constituents feel. You know, I mean, if I had somebody rose the gas prices 40%, we'd all be crying. Another thing you should do a little advertising. You know, we advertise for marijuana, we advertise for alcohol, we advertise for toilet paper. Let's do a little advertising and have the people involved so we know it's going to take more than the poor people to make the bus system survive. Look here, and on Saturday, I know you're going to like this one. You raise the bus prices to $1.50. You get together with some of these people that's passing this money around, and you raise all the bus drivers' fare an additional $5 an hour. Kind of revolutionary, right? But the plan you put into place last April didn't work. So I'm trying to throw as much at you as I can so you consider whatever it is you might come up with. Now listen, we know that problems are always going to arise, especially when it comes to the people. All I'm asking you to do is please stop passing the buck to the people, especially the poor people who can't afford it. I ride the bus, y'all. I ain't never seen none of y'all on the bus. None of you. Ride the bus. Find out how your constituents feel. You know, I never hear from none of y'all until it's time to rack them votes up. Come on, y'all know I'm the messenger. Just delivering the message. You got to get closer to your constituents, and you'll solve some of these problems. Oversight board. Should have been one. Should have been one 60 years ago, but it wasn't. The Whitfields, revolutionary in their togetherness to try to bring the community to one thought, equal opportunity for everybody. Hey, I could talk another 3 minutes, but I know you don't want to hear it. So what I'm going to do is Peace.
Jerry, thank you. Thank you very much. Are there any other comments at this time? Any other public comments? Yes, Mary.
So, Mary Bourgeois, 231 Springview. So first of all, thank you for Resolution 44, because I really love full blast. And the second thing is, I think the Citizens Review Board would be wonderful. It would establish rapport between citizens and service providers, and it would make the service providers more accountable to taxpayers. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary. Are there any other public comments at this time? Yes, Cindy?
Cindy Dion, 24 Poplar. I got to get up here and support Jerry because I think he made an excellent suggestion. With the price of gasoline where it is today, it would not hurt our public transit system to advertise, to encourage people to ride the bus rather than drive their car. And when they ride the bus, they don't have parking issues downtown. They don't, maybe they have to get up and go a little earlier. They'll have time to buy coffee before they go to work. But I think it's a good encouragement to encourage more of the population to find out what a bus is all about. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Yes, sir.
Jerry Logan, 10429 I Drive North, Emmett Township. I've just got a couple traffic issues I'd like to see changed. On where 2nd Street and Porter comes out, used to be the old Kellogg entrance. It's got like 2 or 3 stop signs there, which there's nothing to stop for. And I wish some of this stuff was eliminated, a couple of signs, or one or something that forces you to run a stop sign if you're just trying to get somewhere. The other issue is where Elm Street comes into Michigan Avenue, coming down the hill, where you can't turn on red. I don't know why, I don't know what the justification for that sign, turn on red or any of that. I don't understand that. I wish you'd look into it and eliminate it because it sure slows up. You sit there for, waiting on the thing to change, burn up gas, you're wasting your time. But just a couple things that I think would smooth things out a little bit.
Jerry, thank you for coming down to share that information with this commission. We appreciate it.
You bet.
Hopefully, we'll be able to see some changes.
Hope so.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time? John Kennefick.
John Kennefick, 234 South Avenue. I guess I've got to work on my exuberance. Probably not. Before the last commission meeting where you voted on the sidewalk clearing by the citizens of Battle Creek that are in the right-of-way, I filed a Freedom of Information Act and tried to get it on your agenda packets prior to the last meeting, but it was not able to get there. You should have gotten it at this meeting. I believe the deputy clerk mentioned that. Basically what it said was, over the last 20 years, how many times has the government of Battle Creek cited the government of Battle Creek's properties throughout the city of Battle Creek, Calhoun County's government properties within the city of Battle Creek, Calhoun County Land Bank properties within the city of Battle Creek, and Michigan Department of Transportation properties that have sidewalks within the city of Battle Creek. Over the last 20-year period, not one citation was ever issued. Now, I'm concerned about basically having people injured. I was going to put another Freedom of Information Act, and at the last minute I pulled it. But the act would have, the information that I was asking was, how many people have been injured from automobile and pedestrian traffic during the wintertime between November and March? I pulled it back because I was wondering why I was doing your job for you and paying for it. There are a lot of things that should appear in a lot of these agendas, and they're just government-oriented. They're not really focused on a lot of the information just to push something. That is your right-of-way. If somebody gets hurt in there, The lawsuit goes against the government of Battle Creek for those sidewalks in the right-of-way. You want people to shovel that in hazardous conditions, possibly slipping or hurting themselves, at their own expense. They do it at no charge. That's a piece of their life. So that was one of my basic concerns. Oh, one other comment, too. When I was up here, not at the last commission meeting, but the previous commission meeting, I mentioned Lori Sullivan being cited by the government of Battle Creek for trimming some limbs in the government's right-of-way. Just previous to this last commission meeting, not this meeting, but the previous one, I was in contact with Lori Sullivan's husband and asked the question, because she was working, Lori Sullivan was working, and I said, has any commissioner ever contacted you in regards to those conditions of what happened in the right-of-way? The response was, nobody came and saw her. No one asked her anything of this commission. I guess it really wasn't important, because you can be cited for doing the government's work, and you can be cited for not doing the government's work. It's kind of a hypocritical situation. Again, maybe I should be a little bit more exuberant. Thank you.
Are there any other public comments? Seeing none, are there any commission comments? Commissioner Jake Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a comment regarding the marijuana facility special use permit that came before the commission tonight. There seems to be a pretty well-established school of thought regarding marijuana facilities and community deterioration. That was on display here tonight. And I'm curious if anybody has access to any objective measures that show that there's a correlation between having a marijuana facility in a community, in a specific neighborhood, and any amount of deterioration that might follow, any more so than a dollar store, a bakery, any other business. Because I don't have a horse in this race, but I try to remain objective to these ends, and the recommendation by the zoning staff is pretty clear that it met all the criteria. So what it boils down to is a value call. And if we're going to make those type of calls, I'd like to be objective about it. And if anybody has information to that end, I want to know if there is a negative correlation between any marijuana facility and community deterioration. I want to know about it, but I haven't seen such a thing. So with that in mind, I wanted to put that out there and leave an open door to anybody, my colleagues, the citizenry, staff. If there's data on this, I'd like to see it, because I want to make responsible, objective decisions on this. And yeah, that's all I'll say about this.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commission comments tonight?
Mayor?
Yes. Commissioner Ballard.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith, on your comments on that. I'm a little confused because we just went through billions of dollars of fines for pharmacies and places that sell OxyContin and are still selling OxyContin today. We have liquor stores that are much worse than any of these dispensaries. I made a personal effort to go to 5, both inside and outside. I didn't see any trash like I see at the liquor stores. I didn't see anybody able to use on premise. I've known people that have died from OxyContin. I've known people that use marijuana to subside their anxieties, and it actually is a good thing for some people. So it's not all a negative. I also want to comment on let's see. I got 4 things written down here, and I'm trying to get to them all. Complaints on the Citizens Review Board. What I've read in the USA Today is that one community had 500 complaints. After they installed the CRB, the complaints went to 87. That's a huge decrease in complaints when you have a CRB board. Transit. And my husband and I ride transit everywhere, Chicago, LA, New York, Florida, Texas. I don't see any prices at $1.75. And I also see in Chicago, when we were just there last weekend, 4 people on the bus. So I don't know that bringing the price down to $1 is going to make any difference. We paid $5. The Van Buren Hill for the stop sign. I have not seen any accidents since they put the stop sign in. Prior to that, I've seen 5 accidents in 2 months where people come barreling down Van Buren Street and plow into people pulling left out of the gas station. There shouldn't be any reason why you have to hesitate at that stop sign. That lane is made for you. Go on and go after you stop. The cars coming from Michigan Avenue are to stay in the left lane. There's a long white line. It means do not cross. That's my voice tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Ballard. Commissioner Patrick?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A few things tonight. I want to thank VOSES for putting up a daycare center. Thank you, Jose. It's going to be I hope it's a great gem in our community over there. And be honest, that was my really deciding vote for that marijuana in that area. I'm for it. It's a great, business. If some people want to be involved with that, that's fine there. But I believe that planting the seed of change in that neighborhood is what you're doing. And I don't believe that that was part of the planning commission's packet that evening when they approved or disapproved it. This is the first time I've seen this week when I got the packet that you were applying for this. And that's really what made my change of the vote. To just be totally honest with you out there, I'm not going to lie at all. Again, I do support all businesses and all types, but in that area, I cannot wait to see the growth. I see the positivity of the future of Battle Creek coming out of that area of town, and not just. There's other organizations that are working in that area. We got a football field over there and other things. Just take a drive by, or even ride the bus. I do support the bus. I used to ride it when I was a young child to get me to the Y Center every morning, and I was down there at 6 years old. Sorry, and that leads me to Full Blast. What a great facility! I just wanted to make sure that all that concrete work's getting taken care of. That's why I asked the warranty and all that, because again, that's another. I don't know what the cost of it is or whatever, but it's got to be something that's helping our community out because it's lasted this long, and it just needs to have some cosmetic changes. I've never heard anybody complain about going there and coming back. So I just want to say that. I want to thank all the citizens for the last snow emergency that we had, that you followed the rules. Everyone was complaining about, the complaints were, which was worse? Which was a blizzard of 78 or this one? Well, the thing is we got better technology now. And everybody followed the rules and got off the street. We had great plows. We had great city workers. Again, I want to thank our city workers, our fire department, police, our public safety workers that are out there driving the snowplows, public works. You did a great response. Nobody was seriously injured or death came from that because you heeded the warnings from our elected officials. And again, yeah, Mary, I don't know if she's still here, but right on, we had a small incident downtown where we opened a little pool downtown this week. But again, fire department came in, pumped out the water, and trying to keep those businesses open down there. They did great. They're supporting our community and our businesses. That's what we're here for. When danger, when services are needed, they arrive right away, no questions asked. Thank you very much, Chief. And last, I just want to say, Happy New Year. Welcome 2023. I can't wait to see what this town will bring us.
Thank you, Commissioner O'Donnell. Any other comments? Thank you very much. I'm going to adjourn the meeting then. Thank you for being here tonight.